I'm looking at the YouTube. It's going live. We're live on YouTube.
What up, what up, what up, what up, y'all? All right. Hey. All the YouTube outlaws, welcome. Greetings and salutations, all those things, man.
Live on Facebook.
All right, Facebook outlaws, what's going on? Welcome, greetings, the People's Network Outlaw Radio. Here on a Thursday night, man. We're coming to exchange some ideas and perspective. I recommend you do the same thing, man. I got my brothers here with me tonight. We finna talk some shit and that sort of thing, man. Brother, tell the people something good.
Peace, y'all. I am the black woman's lover, the black man's brother, the culture teacher, the hood healer, your holistic health and wellness coach, Kamar Carter. Y'all better come on in. Peace. Welcome to Outlaw Radio. Kev, how you doing, my brother?
Hey, the presents Outlaw Radio on a Thursday night, as we always say, beverage. Hope you are imbibing.
Stay hydrated.
It is Whyte Out tonight.
Is.
That's the name of the show. Beverage. It's Whyte Out.
It's a beverage.
We'll explain that. Shout out to you if you're listening. We appreciate the love that we get. We're actually simulcasting. I had a lot of people subscribe to the YouTube page. Not a lot, but more than I'm used to.
Okay.
It was one person. No, shout out to you for getting with the YouTube page. We need them numbers over there. Y'all get with the YouTube page.
Peace.
Facebook, as usual, is always what it is, man. Thursday nights, this is what we do. We started with the Warrior Report.
Chat.
Yeah, we started with the Warrior Report last night.
Wednesday nights.
Which was great, man.
Straight right.
My brother Kamar Carter, your holistic wellness coach, as you heard.
Hey.
I am the world-class smartass, the militant with a microphone, a.k.a. the Negro Whisperer, in the building for another edition of Outlaw Radio, Whyte Out on a Thursday night.
Right.
You can catch the Outlaw Radio thing Thursdays and Saturdays. The Warrior Report is on Wednesdays. If you have a black business or something that you'd like to promote, please holler at me, inbox me, DM me, whatever it takes. Send a pin to his foot. We support black business, and we're looking for like-minded individuals who support the empowerment of.
We love black people. We love black people.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So it's Whyte Out tonight, man. I want to send my condolences to my sister Camille Mays, who lost her son. She's been a community activist for a very long time on the front lines. The violence came to her front door. So, condolences to that sister, And I've been out in the community for a long time. I've never had the pleasure of actually meeting her. I know I've seen her somewhere, right? And it's just tragic that, she loses her son like this. Like, Milwaukee eats its young. And that's something that we got to change. That's something we have to change. So, Whyte Out tonight. Man, we getting prepared for this weekend. Tomorrow's Friday, right? Tomorrow's Friday. Right. Tomorrow's Friday.
Right.
It's about to be the weekend, man. So make sure y'all tune in Saturday night. We'll do Outlaw Radio again.
Come on, man.
You know what I mean? And it's just a platform for black people to speak the truth. You ever been in a room where it was a bunch of black people who were free to say whatever they wanted to say without worry of repercussions or, any kind of judgments of any? It's like a free room, right? And that's what this is, man. So even if you're in the chat room, if you're watching, the show is interactive.
It's called building.
Say something. Holler at me. I'm trying to tell y'all got to show me I need to buy a phone.
Salute-based radio.
If y'all get involved, I'll go get the phone. But I can't do it when one person every 3 weeks say, can I call in? No, I need you to get your cousins them to say it to. I ain't about a phone. And that's coming anyways. What's going on, Brother Jay? You it's been a while because we didn't do Outlaw Radio last Saturday.
Man, that ain't crazy. It seemed like you missed one show, man. It's like I'm
missing ages.
Yeah, I ain't seen y'all.
Many moons. It's been many moons.
That's what's up, man. I mean, it's good energy, good vibrations. What I'm getting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah. And
trying to stay warm, brother.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, we warm down here.
Yeah. Man.
Studio is warm.
It is warm.
The studio's warm. And the summer's cool.
Right.
It's chocolate. The Chocolate City Studios, right? It's what it is. Dun, dun,
chocolate milk.
Dun, dun.
Black don't crack, but it melts.
Right. Now when you got AC, you exfoliate.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Whyte Out, man. Why did I choose to pick this particular topic? We often talk about all the lists that Milwaukee appears on in terms of being the worst place.
Usually negative.
Right, for everything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you say to yourself, why is that? What's the reasoning behind that? Well, then you have to examine the city on a microscopic level and see who runs things, who makes things happen, who's in charge of the places that actually affect change in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And by and large, the administrative arm of these organizations are majority white.
Right.
The county,
Coinky Dink,
the city,
right,
corporate America.
Mm-hmm.
Brothers and sisters, I'm here to tell you, those buildings that they build downtown, yeah, it creates jobs because we can work in the parking lot and secure them, or we can work in the building and clean them. But they are very, very hesitant to give us the offices that administrate their policies or them, right?
Yeah, we're gonna need our own. Like the fact that we keep trying to figure out a way to incorporate ourselves into what they're doing, this thing fundamentally is flawed. We by design. You know what I mean? So I don't know. If your only options is Republican or Democrat, Republican or Democrat, then you just thinking inside the box. It's going to take more than that. We need our own option. So we talked earlier about the separation, and you said we're not, and I just think it's overdue.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't be one to ever tell people of color that we're long overdue for whatever shape, form, or fashions that reparations would come in. But let's not be so long overdue that we'll take anything. Let's be able to define how we get them. So later on down the line, we won't look and say, well, there was a loophole that we weren't aware of. And now we're back victimized.
Well, I think the fact that reparations have been given to Native Americans, been given to
everybody.
I think there's already a precedence that's set. There's already a formula that's already been devised. So we can start with examining that.
Right. So when you take a state like Wisconsin, and you take southeastern Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Racine, Kenosha, which is where probably 85% of the Black population in the state live, a state where we're 8% of the population, the state is still 86% white. And we have the largest population of octogenarians and senior citizen types in terms of white people who literally remember a world where we were what you call 1/5 of a man.
Well, that's still on the books.
Yeah.
Unless you want somebody to call and show me where that's been ratified.
Well, they're still alive.
It's still a law.
These white folks are still alive. That's who governs our state.
Okay. And country. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and country. Yes, and country. These are the individuals that write the legislation. These are the individuals that we say so-called represent us. My problem then becomes, why wouldn't we demand more for those who want our vote? Why are we not saying to people who come to us, because they pander to us during an election cycle, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And they come to you and say, vote for me, vote for me, vote for me. And why don't we sit them down and say, we want this, this, and this, or else ain't nothing move.
Well, we ain't talking.
Or you don't come in the church.
No more conversation.
Right. Why are we not at that stage?
At least.
And that's all it takes. That's all it takes. Speak up.
Because if you do that, I guarantee you, then the wheel starts to turn a different direction. So things would change. Now,
tell me how they would change. Because ultimately, what you would not vote for would be the Republican instead of the Democrat, or the Democrat instead of the Republican, and we've seen what changed for us under either one of them.
Which you actually have a very interesting perspective on when it comes to Democrats and Republicans, right? I'd like to hear about that.
It's a shell game. It's a left wing and a right wing of the same bird. They all work for the same corporations. You know what I'm saying? They get money from the same lobbyists. It's Coke or Pepsi, but it's still cola. So it's not. It's just. It's just the illusion of choice. You know what I'm saying? And so doesn't really matter until, you know, we need another option.
Right. You know, I always say, like, what if we groom somebody, you know what I mean, who knew what we wanted, you know what I'm saying, off top, and we got them in there. You know, we got somebody groomed. They know what we want already. We don't have to tell them. We know it while he running. You dig what I'm saying?
You're talking like
now, would that be possible for him to be running without being a Democrat or Republican?
Well, you know what I think what you're talking about there is akin to legacy building, in which we were, if we were to step to MPS, you know, as people of color and say, we demand a better curriculum. Like if we went, because they meet all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on the school board, you have to get elected. There's a democratic process to it.
Right.
No pun intended. But if we went to those meetings and said, hey, we like more say-so in the curriculum. We'd like to govern more what our kids are learning now. You know, because one size truly does not fit all.
Right.
So if we, and you said how would change, how would it affect it?
I did ask.
Well, what would happen is the people will realize that what they say matters. So no, and again, Khalif Rainey just did this. And I don't know if it was a plan by Khalif, but I know it set a precedent, which is Tom Barrett's band. You know, Tom Barrett's Princess.
Like Morris Day is too cool. Like you insult Morris.
That's Ashanti. Yes.
Yeah. Jesse Johnson, right? You
know? That's Russell Stamper, right? Like Khalif is Jimmy Jam.
It's Jerome.
No, like Jimmy. Right. We. So I'm saying, when you look at it like that, I think what Khalif did was very profound because he actually listened to the people that are going to vote for him, his constituents. They said, we don't want this shit.
Right.
He said, oh, shit, I thought they was cool. My bad, y'all.
Right. Thought they wanted the jobs.
And
I really believe that may have been where his mind was.
Well, I'm
focused on the job.
I'm trying to develop.
Because you know what? When I talk to people about that, they don't understand about the smell. They don't understand what the smell going to do for the community. How that's going to be. And he probably never thought about that part.
And how about the guarantee that we would even be the ones getting those jobs to begin with?
Right.
Because traditionally, not all the time.
I think that's the biggest thing. I think that we talk about, like, the Courier, the Milwaukee Courier wrote, they had an article where they said nothing smells worse than the smell of poverty. But I would say to the Courier that if you bought your home 35, 40 years ago, 45 years ago, 50 years ago with some of those, there's still a lot of homeowners over there who are retired from whatever they did to pay for that house. When you bought that house, you said, I bought this house because when I get old, I just want to chill. You don't want to be in your backyard barbecuing and got to smell processed cow guts. So the rest of the community can eat.
Let me tell you, when they talk that crazy mess, like nobody had a problem when they moved Ambrosia from downtown because of the smell. Right. There was some other factors too, but
that shit.
It'd be interesting to whoever wrote that statement, that article, or whatever. The smell of poverty. Be interesting to see where they live.
Yeah. And I would even say this, like, to the people who live in that neighborhood. I mean, if A.O. Smith is your champion, Tower, we know that they polluted the soil. Like, it took the city years. We're talking about Century City. It took them years to actually clean that environmentally to make, because for years they were unregulated, and you don't know what was coming out them smokestacks over there.
Oh, I worked there, man, during Tower, and some of the stories about what was underground and the underground cities and how they could transfer it and make, and in a time of war and make missiles or warheads or whatever.
And that was rumored to be
in 24 hours. They could turn them. Things that the vets talked about. They could have been pulling our leg.
So is it short-sighted for the citizens? I love. That's why we did the show. Milwaukee is active, because I think around. You know what I mean? Like, you see people, right? We do the vegans. We do the holistic healer. We talk.
Oh, this
religion, and we talk about sexuality, and we talk about what is the revolution. I got a show coming up Saturday night called "What Revolution?"
We got. Wait, he gave us some. We got.
Yeah.
Saturday night, 7:30. Be here. What revolution?
Hey.
What revolution?
Because write this down.
Because I want
to write the date down too.
We got some time.
Yeah, man. Make sure we go to do whiteout of what we're up against. Like somebody has to do logistics, which the United States military does way before the bombing begins or whatever, the clandestine.
Mm-hmm.
See, it starts with logistics. It starts with the gathering of information about who and what we're.
So I have a question for you, right? Because we understand the gathering of information happens, just like you described to me, right?
I tried to.
So, so outside of us getting information
Mm-hmm.
from a source that they control,
Mm-hmm.
what do we know?
Well, what we know is that it's deeper than what we know.
So we don't know anything.
Well, you know that you're up against something, and that's better than being blind to it.
But in essence, we kind of blind.
Well, you know the thing about black people, man, is we got this thing where we overcome. Whatever. Yesterday we was talking about that a little bit. You know what I mean? And I was saying, well, it start with ourselves. We got to work on ourselves first before we can fix anything.
I think you got to. Go ahead, bro.
Nah, I think that's a trap, right? When you start talking about what needs to happen before, that's just another way to push back what should have already been done. Well, we need to do this and this before we get, and I'm not just to your statement, because we always do that. Well, first, brother,
what I'm saying is doing this gonna solve.
But I'm before what? Before we unify, before we get together, before we fight back, before we boycott, before what?
That's not what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay, I'm asking.
You know what I mean? I think it was out of context.
Enlighten me, brother. Enlighten me.
You know what I'm saying? I think it was out of context.
So
maybe I might have said it like that, but what I'm saying, I always talk about this. We talked about this yesterday.
Yes, sir.
And we were saying, like, you know, a lot of people ask, what do we do? What do we do? How do we fix this? And my answer was, we work on ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's an overly simplified answer.
Yeah, but I don't think
it can't be that simple. We make life so hard, I think.
I don't think you can scream for unification and you know, common unity and then say we need to work on ourselves. That's an opposite.
I think
true.
So. That's true.
I think so.
You can't say let's all do us and then be
like,
one of the
problems we have
is you breaking up or going together.
One of the problems with each other is we take too much time tearing each other down, looking at what everybody else is doing.
So that's changing the nature of our association, but not changing the association.
But that will fix it.
Not totally.
The love for self, man, as the love for self, when that grow, man, I mean, I seen it with me, you know what I'm saying? As I started loving myself more,
yes,
I started developing better relationships with my people.
Yes, sir.
You dig what I'm saying?
And
this is just my perspective.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying this is the correct way. You know what I'm
it might
saying?
be the correct way for you.
So exactly.
Yes,
so
sir.
that's why I said what I think we need to do is work on ourselves.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying?
I don't. If that's what you. But I'm just saying. I think that whenever we begin to find reasons to not do it now. Right?
Yeah, I could dig that.
You know what I'm saying? Procrastination is the thief of all time.
I could dig that.
Yeah.
When I say whiteout, I mean understanding civics, understanding what actually governs us, if you will.
Why?
Checks and balances, right?
Right.
The Senate, Congress. Like, they're going to war right now with Trump. This impeachment process, the whole approach to it. But now, Jason, it's actually a thing now, though. They're going through the hearings. Their information is being presented.
Wake me. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's all.
I think that this is all like a terrible reality show. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. It's a bunch of poppycock. I don't. Let me know when they start packing his back.
I just want to go on record as saying this is the first person to ever say poppycock on this show. That is a precedent right there. Like, nobody's ever said poppycock on Outlaw Radio.
I think the whole impeachment thing.
That's your shit now.
I think the impeachment thing is an illusion.
Poppycock.
I think it's an illusion.
An illusion of what?
It's an illusion to make a band-aid.
What's
something to make us feel like, well, they doing something.
A distraction.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, okay.
It's something to make us feel like they doing something now. So they put on the illusion like, okay, yeah, we got a bad president. We'll impeach him. We'll do it. But that's why I think it's just a band-aid, man.
You know, when it comes to people of color, we don't have a dog in the fight.
Right.
This has absolutely nothing to do with us. This is blue blood white America fighting against blue blood white America. Mm-hmm. This is a rich people fight. This is Mr. Drummond against Jed Clampett. Literally. The 80s progressive white man, leftist. I mean, you know, who adopt some poor black kids from the ghetto. Right. Versus fucking what's his name? Jed Clampett. I'm the hillbilly and I struck oil. Fuck a nigga. There's not a black person. I don't even have black servants on my show.
Real talk. Real talk.
Beverly Hillbillies.
Right.
It's literally that. That's what this race is. So who you gonna vote for? Jed? Or you gonna vote for Mr. Drummond? And that's what we're conditioned to believe. There's a great white savior out there for us. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna tell you there is not one.
He's rich.
And he's gonna come get you. When you at your worst, now the world don't move to the beat of just one drum. They were talking about the Africans because we always beat on that one drum. What might be right for you may not be right for some. I listen to it. A man is born, he's a man of meat. What the fuck?
Right.
Come on, man.
You know what I mean.
You are programmed in this country to think of yourself as a person of color, as somebody who needs something. Mm-hmm. I need help. Please help me. Give me a program. What's up, man? Come on, man. Y'all got the money. You sound like a hype. Come on, man. I know you balling, man. Come on, give me 10, 20 something, man. I see the car. I see the rims. You sound like that when you keep going to this system saying, please help me.
So where you going to go? Because we all know, you know, no man is an island.
Right.
So if you can't go to the system and it ain't time.
Peninsula, maybe.
It ain't time.
In the worst of 3,000.
It ain't time for us to get our own, right? And we still depending on them.
It is time for us to get out.
Okay. So now we're talking.
Right? We just gotta figure out how to do it. I don't think we have the think tank
that's
right
that
now to do
Garvey type. So we do. Yeah, we do.
Okay. Because well, who would you put at the table to put this together?
Right. Listen, I wouldn't even pretend that I can sit here and name names. Right. Real talk. But the fact of the matter is, it's a token Negro doing the real work for somebody in just about every major corporation, right? So, you know, they taught you, you know, certain things in school. Do we know about the person who made the cell phone or the internet? You know what I'm saying? Or
do we know that they were black?
My point exactly. So
no, we didn't know that.
Well, because they didn't tell us that.
No. And I got out of school a long time after the cell phone was invented.
But the point is, when you start asking, like, can we do it? We do it. We just do it for them.
Right. That's why I said white out. Because usually your boss's boss is a white man or a white woman.
So if we begin to do it for ourselves, how all of a sudden do we lose our brilliance?
I don't think we lose anything. I think that we can go to the prisons, right, and get some mathematicians out of there. You know what I'm saying? Some people that knew how to manage some dope and sold some dope and did some different things. Businessmen.
Real talk.
And I think you get shot. I think you get shot on your way out of town. So that's called a jailbreak.
So that's
called prison break.
Well, it's called prison reform, right?
You're right.
Okay.
We both right.
All right.
Because when you do reform, it's a prison break. You get niggas out of jail.
It should be, yeah.
Shooting your ass when you get out of Gamey County.
My whole point is that we can do it. We do it. We just do it for them. We have more than qualified people, right? If we concentrated on doing it for us.
So push it in the right direction.
Listen, somebody out there getting rich off toilet paper.
And it's a black toilet paper company right now.
I'm just saying, right? I mean, it's somebody out there that sells shit, right? They call it fertilizer.
Yeah, especially here, we use human shit for the Milorganite. That's what Milwaukee is known. They pioneered Milorganite.
See what I'm saying?
Fresh off Jones Island.
Hey,
Jones Island is right off the coast of Lake Michigan. Y'all go down there and go swimming.
Yeah.
Go underwater.
Ew. Right. No, you told me something right there, brother. I didn't know that.
What?
Yeah,
with Jones Island and
man.
Milorganite.
Yeah, no.
Oh, you better know about it. But you
I
know what?
don't know
Milorganite is human shit fertilizer.
Okay.
When you come into the city of Milwaukee, they say the home of the company that makes Milorganite.
Listen, I say right now, we should go into business, right?
And get some Milorganite.
I'm saying
it's human shit.
Right? Fuck, I ain't going to no human shit business.
Well, no, because it's Jones Island is what's good. You know, you talk about our sewage system. And you talk
I know some motherfuckers that's full of shit. Right?
Right? Well, you talk about why the water is messed up here. You talk about all these things. Water quality. Fat people. So you got Jones Island, which is the home of Milwaukee Municipal Sewage District, and they've said plenty times when there's a storm overflow, they release metric tons of untreated sewage into Lake Michigan. They say this. They have to legally. They have to say it when they do it. Like, hey, we was overwhelmed because Jones Island is where all the shit you put in the toilet goes, and they separate the water from that shit and make it into drinking water.
Did you ever think of it this way? If you ruin the
somebody didn't know where they got their water from.
If you ruin,
is that easy for real? Is that where that shit come from?
Cryptosporidium.
What? Why you think it happened?
Cryptosporidium, right? But if think about it this way: if they pollute, destroy the water, you got to get it from them because they own all the sewage plants and all that. You know what I'm saying? If they pollute the air, you got to get it from them.
And even if you work at Jones Island, your boss is probably a white person.
They pollute the food, right? And everything is GMO, and ain't no seeds nowhere, right? You got to go to them. This is
and all they supervisors.
This is
white
pinky
people.
In the brain, some world domination.
To the food.
What pinky in the brain? Both white mice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The brain.
Outlaw Radio, man. White out. The all-white party. On a pro-black platform, right?
Thursday night, man. Outlaw Radio, right. Exchanging ideas.
You can imitate it, but you can't duplicate it.
Real talk. But what we're talking about, man, is pertinent. It's relevant. Like the system, even when it is their rule, even when we play by the rules and we find a way to beat them at their own game, Byron Allen, right? You see what I'm saying? They still because you playing a game with somebody who makes the rules up as they go along.
He won the first round today.
Well, right? because they're gonna let it come. They're gonna let it come to court. That's all they did was they didn't throw it out.
Right.
Comcast and them wanted to toss it before it ever got to trial, so they didn't throw it out. Ain't other than that, nothing.
And for the people who believe in the hoopla, who don't go in beneath, one thing they try to say to him is they refuse his networks because they were all low performing networks. And what he's saying, I can show you instances of networks that perform way worse than the ones I own that you sign quickly. And not only that is I own a bunch of networks that have been nominated for Emmys and that are award-winning programming.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And you have plenty of white.
So before you throw that out there,
you busting them out.
The best thing about Byron Allen is Byron Allen got lawyers.
Oh, real.
Yeah. He had on a camel skin coat. You see him today? And when I said that brother Taylor.
When he dropped the name of the lawyer, it was something ski, right?
Oh no, the Jews are with me.
Oh, listen,
because I'm rich enough.
Yes.
So look when they said he just bought. What was it? 17 network.
Still in billions, bro.
I keep saying their problem with.
What's the problem?
How did we let this nigga get here? Why didn't we stop him early?
Oh, that's a problem for them.
That's their issue with him. Like, what?
He was just chilling, doing his thing.
He's a comedian.
Yeah.
That's what they thought.
I'm old enough to remember his show. I think it was That's Incredible or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
I watched his talk show. His late night talk show, he's had several.
He's a comedian.
And I didn't know why he was always able to have these talk shows, but I realize now because even then he owned his own network. So it come on like 2 a.m. And he always would do something with black comedians. I'm telling y'all can go YouTube this shit. Like they used to do the rib sessions, him and the top comedians. Some of the funniest shit you've ever seen. Before Dave Chappelle, before Chris Rock.
It came on at 3:30 in the morning. Right.
And you used to say, well, damn, Byron Allen still got a show.
Then a commercial came on, somebody said, "Con potens, compassion."
Emmanuel Milwaukee. That's some real Milwaukee shit right there. That's what.
And then you're call me now. All you motherfuckers that was up all night.
You fucked me up with it. You fucked me up with the Miss Cleo, man. Remember Mother Love and shit?
Wait, and then that's right before the Shepherd's Chapel came on.
Oh my God, man.
Hey, didn't it come out that Miss Cleo was a fraud?
Yeah,
well, no, yeah, she was a fraud, but her company, like, she didn't walk away with all the loot like that, though. Her company got
it failed.
They pimped her. You know
Y'all gotta support black business,
just like the lady from Popeyes. Or she said, "You love my shit."
Economic. When we talk, because I'm always trying to pay attention to the economic status.
Say that again.
The economic status, because for a city to work, it has to generate tax revenue. If it doesn't, the situation you find yourself in is you'll have to overtax the citizens, like us. They just passed the law that the Miller Park tax, which ran, I think, about 4 years past its expiration date, and nobody said anything.
No,
all these black politicians in the county and the city. Nobody ever said, "Hey, y'all know we still paying for Miller Park, but we done paid for it already 4 years ago. We've given it up." Was downtown in those buildings that we can clean and secure.
And we got failing schools.
Well, hold on.
My bad.
I put that out there because I wanted to say, when I say I pay attention to the economics now, Bayshore in Glendale has taken a tremendous fall. Fallen on his face. Devon Seafood and Steaks, it's restaurants, Applebee's, the indoor portion of it is they have to reconfigure this whole thing. We saw this with the Northridge area out there on 76 and Brown. This fucking retail hole in the wall. Like, it's destroyed. It's horrible. Just to even realize and remember how vibrant that area once was. So then downtown, the Grand Avenue, downtown Milwaukee, with all your development, we still have no movie theater downtown, in which when we were young, we had 4 or 5. The mall now, they're going to make apartments. My thing is, who the fuck is going to... I know what you're going to say.
What am I going to say?
Who's going to live down there?
Oh, come on. A lot of prominent
white millennials, urban white millennials, right?
Oh, man, for sure. It's all for them, man. Stop. Like, you know what I mean? Think about it.
Right. So when I look at this and I say, well, the failure that Midtown is, Walmart, which was an anchor store, left years. It's been so long.
So Starbucks just left.
Because of repeated robbing, or what they say. Repeated robbery.
Thank you for saying that.
That's what they said.
And I'm not denying it at all. But you have to take all that information with a grain of salt. You can't just take for granted that it's real, right? You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that.
But I know for a fact Starbucks was making money because that line, and I went in there and had business meetings. It was always popping. So if they say they got robbed, I believe that because guess what's happening in Milwaukee right now? So people getting robbed.
So wait, so I want to.
Well, the owners don't like black people nowhere.
I thought Magic was the owner.
Magic
owned Starbucks.
Oh, well, now we got
Magic brought Midtown. He was one of the original financiers.
Where was Magic when the 2 black dudes that went to jail from Starbucks?
Magic tried to.
No, he wanted to bring.
He tried to bring a movie theater back to the Capitol Court area. They actually turned him down. But I want to address it from a different end, and you might enjoy this because this is the kind of.
Don't tell me with a good.
This is the angle you like to look at it, but. So what you're talking about the robberies and whatnot, and then there was a video, man, that came out about what was going on with some teens at
Mayfair.
Was it
once
Mayfair,
again
and Southridge
too,
Southridge Mall, right?
Both.
So we do understand, right? It's going to be dealt with disproportionately, but we do understand that there is an issue. How do we get in touch? How do we communicate? How do we help guide our youth better than to behave like that? Because when they do that, they all just look and say, see, See, this is what we talking about. This is why you niggers can't come in. I mean, you know, then they pat each other on the back. So how can we get in touch with our youth to understand that, you know, it's even a right way to do wrong? You see what I'm saying? Help me with that.
Okay, man, I like what you did there. You know, the conversation that we have to have with our kids, that's very important. Because what's happening with all these instances is that, yeah, they play up the angle. I mean, don't ever get it twisted and think white kids don't fight too.
Come on, man. Absolutely.
Right. Now they may,
but
it's not, their community is not as volatile as ours.
Well, it's not as publicized. Right? So when you have white on white crime, it can happen. It actually happens more, right? But one is publicized more than the other. Like we have a myth that there's deadbeat dads and whatnot. When statistically, you know what I'm saying, black men are involved more with the day-to-day activities of their children than Hispanic or white men. Like there's a study done, and it's on the People's News Network, right?
Right.
So we have to stop letting them, tell us about us.
Right.
So.
Well, no,
it goes back to Byron Allen and controlling the narrative and us being able to disseminate information that we want and stop the slant.
So when we talk about what do we actually do about our children, and this is a dilemma,
dilemma
that I deal with myself now because I do have younger children.
He went to college.
This ain't got nothing to do with college.
No, I'm joking.
This is about ass whoopings. Like,
and you got
our ass whoopings. The concept of ass whooping. Is that an outdated concept? Because I say, I beat my kids because I was beat by my parents who were beaten by my grandparents who were beaten by a slave master.
Do you think that was the form of punishment that we had for our children prior to slavery?
No.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Because if you talk about African rituals, I mean, there was some reprimanding of it.
Absolutely.
But I mean, I think it was more about the process of the trials and put him out in the wilderness and let that come to him. You know what I mean? Not necessarily.
And, and that's kind of what I was gonna get at as far as the question what he had when he say, "What do we do?"
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I was kind of wanted to touch on that a little bit
because
these days they don't always listen, right?
Right.
No kids do.
So some do, some don't. Most of them probably ain't gonna listen because, you know what I mean, like I always say, our generation of men, you know what I mean, dropped the ball as far as being in jail when we missed a lot of the lives, a lot of these years. So the kids can understand that they, you know what I mean, it's about respect when you listen to your elders and everything. They miss that whole part. So what I say is, again, we lead by example. You know what I'm saying? We lead by example and teach the babies. You know what I mean? We reach back and grab these babies now. And by leading by example, we can plant the seed with the teens or the middle age that we trying to reach, that's out here in the malls doing all this wild shit. You know what I'm saying? But like, I really don't think it's nothing that we can do physically to stop them.
That's
what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, okay, we'll keep them in the house. Maybe that's the only thing.
No, that's not.
Kids, they don't listen all the time. You know what I'm saying? when they ain't around us, they don't listen. You know what I'm saying? They don't. And I ain't just saying that they bad, but I mean, like you see, like that happen. I'm sure a lot of those kids' parents told them, don't be out there acting no damn fool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But they went out there and did it anyway. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
But I would say this. Once again, the original question was the ass whooping. And it's like a badge of honor for us. As in our age group, we all three of us. You grew up getting fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
When you messed up, there was a physical reprimanding of you, right? A lot of us got that and still got in trouble, right? Because the original way to teach a black man anything in this country was to beat his ass. He don't know how to act, hang him. He don't agree,
cut his foot off.
He want to run, cut his foot off. You don't lie, burn your house down. I'll bomb your town.
Buck break you.
Right.
Too macho.
I'll rape your wife and make you raise the kids. You beat his ass. You break him down. You know what I'm saying? So I looked at like ass whoopings like, man, I grew up with that old Southern lineage, but it's a Southern lineage.
Takes you back to the slave master,
which
bro.
takes you back to the originations of antebellum slavery.
So again, what was our method of disciplining our children
before?
And this is where you have to go and you have to go into Ma'at, right? You know what I'm saying? You have to look at some of the principles, some of the formulas. You have to go back to Kemet.
What was his name again?
Her. Ma'at.
Her. What was her name?
It's a feminine energy. Ma'at. It's a part of your spirit. It's a faculty of your spirit.
You get something.
But also there are rules. It's an ethical and a moral guideline as well.
Do they got a website that people can go to?
Let me tell you, it's Googleable.
Okay.
Yeah, you can Google Ma'at. M-A-A-T.
But that's just one option. So because let me tell you, when you were in church,
this much.
But let me talk about me. When I was I said Googleable. My phone is just
your phone going off right now. I'm all in your shit.
Stop that. But
what's her name? I'm joking. I'm joking.
Her name is Googleable. I'm totally thrown off of my thought. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So,
but yeah, there are. It is a set of rules.
You were talking about when we were young
because a set of affirmations that go with Ma'at. You know what I mean?
Well, but not.
And you would start your day off speaking these affirmations. I will not do this. I will not this. I will not that.
Which is where the Ten Commandments come from.
Exactly. That's what I was just going to say. What you said.
Once again, I want to go back to that.
But then at the end of the day, there's another part of it. But that's say I have not. You know, so this way,
never thou shalt not though. So that was added by the Roman Catholic Church.
Did you ever whoop your kid?
Yes, still do.
You ever
I never had to.
You never hit?
No, I have 2 girls. I never hit.
I grabbed my kids by the throat. Let me tell you something.
But you got grown kids though. Yeah.
But not all of them.
But the ones, but you can grab the little ones too.
Oh yes.
I choke everybody.
Listen, it's a point that you can get to disrespect, and it's a natural progression. I'm not even angry with you. You're doing what I expect you to do because you're getting at this age and you smelling yourself, and they out there they telling you how great you are, and you know what I'm saying, this, that, and another. But I got girls, so little boys is in your ear, and they telling you, know what I'm saying, and I'll have to shake reality back into you from time to time, at least until you grown and move out on your own.
I want to ask the people out there, do y'all still whoop y'all kids? And you know, I think what this comes down to is that a lot of the physical beatings that have been given to us over the years have been an exercise in frustration for the parents. See, I'm not as oppressed as my father was. And he wasn't as oppressed as his father was. And he wasn't as oppressed as his father was. So the beatings have gotten lighter, but do we need to get away from the ideology that you have to physically smack the shit out of a little kid? Now, I'm not saying when he gets 17 and he turn around and tell you, man, fuck you, I do what I want. And go to the mattresses.
Listen.
You get in with it.
It's a natural progression. It's supposed to happen, and it's about time for him to move out.
But I'm saying, what if
it happens? Look at the lines.
What if we raise them? What if we raise them in a?
And then when that young buck get too big, King, you got to go. You got to get out and go.
What if we raise them in a non-physical fashion from start?
Right.
Like we said, no beatings, just explanations and understanding and empathy.
Your son will whoop your ass.
Is that what would happen?
As soon as he start playing football, no, I'm just talking shit. But so I want to answer.
I'm just speaking on how to change.
But I want to answer your question because it's solution based. That's what I like. But so along with do you whoop your kids or whatever? Because you talked about the ass whoopings decreasing over the generations. What's the worst ass whooping you got?
You asking me personally?
When I was getting my ass whooped, and I told my mama I was gonna call the social service people, she whooped my ass even more.
You know what?
I thought I was gonna scare her out of whooping my ass some more.
My mama switched the belt over one time, and he started hitting me with the buckle.
I actually got my ass whooped with an extension cord.
Oh yeah,
Not the new age modern extension cord.
See-through ones.
The ones with the copper wrapped around it. I got my ass whooped with that. But you know why I got my ass whooped with that cord?
You was being
The
careful.
other
I
shit
was
wasn't
playing
working.
with matches.
Oh, okay.
It was a serious offense.
My ass whoopings progressed because the other shit wasn't working no more. It wasn't none of them working. I was still doing what I was doing.
Well, my mother would have stabbed you because
it probably would have happened.
Yeah,
you know,
she would have went there.
Let me tell you.
But at the
depends on how old you were.
The extension cord for me was a breaking point because I realized that you know if she's willing to go that far, so you won't do nothing wrong no more. Maybe you should start.
It must be real.
Trying to stop doing wrong. She's trying to teach you. It's hard to learn that lesson, but she's obviously trying to teach you something.
In my mind, I gotta get slicker.
Yeah,
that's like I said. In my mind, that's you know what I'm saying. I gotta get.
My mother would have loved you to death, literally.
Right. I got some ass whoopings that, like, as I look on them now, in retrospect,
over the top.
They were evil.
It was because they were frustrated.
I went down south. It was a situation where I got a whooping from a one. This is so premeditated. Like she went and got 3 switches,
right?
Braided them, and soaked them in water.
Who does that?
That's just premeditated. Like
I know
dreaming up different ways to make it painful, right? And then of course you're not getting hit on the clothes with that, right? You got to take them off, right?
Yeah.
You got webs and shit. So yeah, I got that.
So we end up being traumatized by our very childhoods because
and you
the beatings
you
can't tell me that wasn't
I was getting my ass whooped every day. I'll be on my way to school and I think to myself, damn, I know I'm gonna get my ass whooped, but I don't know what I'm gonna get my ass whooped for today.
But you made yourself bull.
And throughout that day, I'll be done did something.
You made yourself bull.
You had to be there to get here. I get all that. But sometimes I think it could have been a better route.
Yeah, it could have.
That's my whole point. Like that's what I'm saying now is our ass whoopings, especially for black people, because our generation my generation, I'm a 70s baby. There was no fire hoses. There was no dogs.
Mm-hmm.
There was no bombing of the church.
There was still fruit on the trees.
But and there was a semblance of a black middle class. Now what there was,
apple trees is dead.
What became was the crack epidemic and the whole mass incarceration thing. Those became the events that affected my childhood. So it wasn't about me, I didn't grow up in the get your head. We beat up white people when I was growing up. When I was growing up, if a white dude said, nigga, all hell breaking loose on his ass, he'd have thought he was in Alabama.
Anywhere at any time.
He'd have been watching that damn shit they used to make us watch, Eyes on the Prize, and been saying, I know how they feel. We'd be like, shut the fuck up, Timothy.
Did you watch Eyes on the Prize?
I had to. That was the curriculum when I was in MPS.
Did you watch Roots?
You know what? I didn't have to. I watched it when I was little because it was the 70s and my parents
didn't make your children watch it.
No. Why? No. Because when I meet my understanding of Alex Haley and the whole retelling of that story, and just kind of like we didn't have to go there. We didn't have to go there. Like my wife and I didn't have to go there with our children. When we talk about Africa and where we came from, it wasn't about roots. Because I'm not the first
one about Africa.
Well, I'm just saying our origin story, right? For us, it was like, we're not going to start with us being slaves. We're going to start with us being a celestial people.
Celestial.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we started with that. Like our kids was like, you got to get Shishi. You got to get Shishi credit for this too. We made it. There's no Santa Claus. Our kids knew from 3-4, no Santa Claus, no Easter Bunny, none of those. They don't exist.
Right.
Mom and daddy.
Right.
Who make this shit happen. That's who you need to honor and respect, right? And that was our thing. So when slavery came up, we can say, yeah, you see how they did us. Nah, but all you've known is us as great. Then you say, oh, they player hated on us, Daddy, didn't they? Yes.
Yep, there you go.
So it's a little bit easier for me to explain our progression than for me to explain Chicken George.
At one point in your life, you believed in Santa Claus, am I right?
I did.
When you was a little kid?
I did. I was with it.
Okay.
I was with it.
And so you decided, right, as you learned something new, that you was going to teach the new thing, right? You're going to teach the truth to your kids, right?
Yes and no.
And so when you got to a certain point, like you didn't allow them, not only did you not teach them, but you probably didn't even allow them to appreciate the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus.
No, because I didn't from.
Right. So let me
when I got old enough to understand what they were saying, they said, "No, that shit's fake."
So tell me about some of the struggles that you have had since you've learned what you've learned about Jesus Christ, and when you and the epiphany that you've had, and how do you translate that to your children?
I'm more free now than I've ever been.
And doing battle, right? Because I'm talking about my situation as well. Doing battle maybe with your spouse over the understanding that you're going to show.
Okay. I'm more free than I've ever been because of that.
But
I am. But
my question was about the.
But you can tell in my everyday movements. I don't move the same. Okay.
Right.
Because of that understanding. It's fine for you to be there. And my wife is a traditional Christian, like, you know what I mean? Real talk, our line. But she's real about it.
Right.
You know,
and love to that, respect.
But my thing is not to question what she believes in. What I question is how they taught it to us.
But when your children come ask you questions,
they get the real.
Okay, and so how does your wife react to that? Because I'm gonna assume that your real is probably different from her real.
It's the same, but it's different. Because I've expanded. See, I don't accept one prophet. I accept that there's been many prophets that brought messages from how deep in the galaxy nobody knows. You don't know where Muhammad came from. You don't know where Jesus came from. You don't know where Malcolm came from. You don't know where Clarence 13X came from. So we talk about knowledge of self, and we talk about Islam and Christianity, and we talk about divinity and spirituality. There's many representations. There's many different dialects. There's many different. There's much different dialogue, which is why Louis Farrakhan said we ain't gonna argue about religion because we don't know what the hell it means anyways. We'll argue about that when we get free.
I love that statement. Right, I do. Like I quote it all the time.
Right.
But I'm talking. I'm trying to get at our evolution. So, boy, I want to get you in here too, man. In the last 10 years or so, man, can you tell me the most major thing that you used to believe or understanding you used to have that you don't now?
It was the whole Jesus thing.
Yes, sir.
You know
the concept.
Now let me tell you that evolved too.
Jesus was a revolutionary. Like, he existed, but not like how they say.
The way I think now,
he existed. Well, I can't prove that.
I'm sorry. Wait. Because hold on. Right. Because I didn't want. Because I asked you a question.
How many different directions?
No, I asked you a question. I didn't want to ask you a question, and that was rude, right? So what I'm saying, I want to hear what you have to say. Write it down, but go ahead.
I want Bull to go first.
Okay. Well, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I think it was. The whole concept of understanding of Jesus. You know what I mean? The whole thing about that. You know, at first, you know, I used to go to church. You know what I mean? Me and my guys, and then we'd go out, we'd be partying, drinking at night, Saturday night. Then, you know, on the way to church, we'd be smoking a blunt. You know what I mean? And get to church and, you know what I mean, do the thing. Because we always figured, hey, Jesus know what we do the rest of the time. So what the fuck do it shit it matter? You know what I'm saying?
What's his first miracle?
Turn the wine into water.
Hello,
you know
somebody during a celebration.
So you know what I mean? I started conception. Yeah, so I started out like that. I started out like that, right?
Yes.
Then I started getting an understanding of well, Jesus never existed. It was the whole thing. It was a myth, you know. And then I started understanding where it was like it was symbolism too. Now I'm starting to understand about symbolism from the Bible and spirituality and everything. It's all symbolism. So now I'm at a point in my life where I feel like I'm Jesus. I feel like you Jesus. I feel like you Jesus. You know what I mean? The story of Jesus or the whole Christianity thing is started in Africa. It was called Coptic back then.
Now we're getting to it.
You know what I'm saying? It was called Coptic back then. And they wrote it so you can better understand yourself. So then easier understand yourself instead of going through this whole spiritual demonstration to understand who you are.
So I just want to jump in and say that you can't say that Jesus existed and then go back and say that the whole thing was plagiarized from Egypt. That means Jesus didn't exist.
Right, exactly. So like I said, it was like I said.
No, he did. He indirectly said it. Yes.
I didn't hear him say that.
I said what?
You said Jesus existed.
I said he existed.
I never said Jesus.
I'm sorry.
He said he questions it. I said he existed.
My bad.
Okay. Now I'm gonna tell you why I say he existed.
Yeah, tell her. Go ahead. I already know why.
And he ain't have to write it down.
First of all,
I'd have to write this shit down.
Why? This is
Because I done forgot.
No, come on.
Easy.
Tell us how easy it is.
Listen.
You know he existed because
Jesus was a black man, first of all. Understand this. Jesus was a black man. What he was he was a very charismatic, well-spoken, articulate, progressive, poignant black man who was probably one of the first black men you've ever seen with that kind of swag. He's Tupac. Listen, let me tell you something. In 70 years, somebody's gonna say Tupac was God's son. The stories of his existence, they're already overly romanticized. Yeah, Tupac healed somebody one day. When enough of us die, who can say no, that never actually happened, then that will become the gospel. Mm-hmm. Tupac was the God rapper.
History is dependent upon the author.
Right. So Jesus existed. There was a black dude who was maybe partially Jewish and partially Palestinian.
First of all, if he was Jew, anything that wasn't Jewish, he would have been a Jew.
It was in him. Because it was part of the lost tribe of Shabazz.
The tribe.
And which we had melanin.
He would have been Jewish.
Okay. So I'm saying, this is why I think he existed.
Yes, sir.
Because there was this slick black dude. A couple hundred years later, we called him Elijah Muhammad. A couple years later, we called him Malcolm X. We called him Martin Luther King.
Because they say Islam was made to dispel Christianity.
Well, Farah Muhammad, Master Farah, apparently Farah Muhammad was this kind of soothsayer as well. I'm saying
I understand that's symbolism too.
Not the Jesus that you taught me, born in the manger.
And I think what you said kind of correlates with what I just said.
Muhammad is the same as Jesus. It's still a white figure.
That's the image that they showed us.
Appearing,
supposedly he's Middle Eastern.
Because I don't want no beef with no 5%ers and nothing.
No, because the
picture looks like a white dude. Like, it's a fact, right? Stop.
So you asked me, why do I think he existed? I think there's always been individuals who were great men.
Now, see, that kind of go with what I just said.
I'm trying to answer my brother's question.
I want you to.
Why do I think Jesus existed?
Specifically, you're talking about.
It doesn't. I think Jesus is an ideology. I think it's a methodology.
Okay.
I think Jesus is really an adjective. I think to say you're Jesus-like because you're on 10. Right. You can light a room up. You can lead the world.
Right.
We choose to create our own Jesuses.
Exactly. But you can be Harry. Harry Potter like.
Yeah. Now, since
right?
check this out. Hey, since you said
God, ain't got a pope.
Since you said God,
he's the enlightened one.
He's real. Hey, now check this
out.
But
he's their chosen enlightened one globally for their religion, and they can still do it.
Now, since you said God light, you know what I mean? That kind of go back to our spirituality thing, because our whole purpose to be here is to become our God's self on earth. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of goes with it. Like I said, that whole Christianity thing, it was designed for us to understand our path.
Well, I like to tell all Christians this when they come to me and say, brother, do you believe in Jesus? The first thing I would say is that you're using a letter that wasn't even created during the time that this individual existed.
So
his letter was only 500 years old.
So the very first thing I'm gonna do to any Christian that comes to me and talk to me is I'm gonna tell you to go get you a King James 1611 version of the Bible.
Pre-slave edition.
Real talk. And you can compare it to the Bible that you have now. You will see the things that have been taken out. Mm-hmm. You will see the things that have been added. And then you can have, to me, a credible conversation, a knowledgeable conversation about what you're talking about. The Bible that you have right now has been revised every year since conception.
Mm-hmm. Which starts with the invention of the printing press, by the way.
Okay, so
it's the best-selling book ever.
Christians, if you don't,
and who controlled the printing press in its origin?
The same people that control the printing press right now,
the rich people,
and who happen to be of a particular complexion.
1%. of the population.
So I'm just saying. So Christians, when you want to talk to me about the Bible, please go get your 1611, the King James version, and then we can have a real discussion.
Which is why I tell black people all the time, just such a descendant, PK, just such a descendant of the Southern Baptists. And the gospel, whoa, Lord, Jesus is on the main line.
Tell him what you want.
Tell him what you want. You know what I'm saying right now?
The spirit is really moving.
Sing it, Pastor.
I'm looking at the gods and earths. I'm looking at knowledge of self. I'm looking at truth, wisdom, understanding, building. I'm looking at
that doesn't sound right. I'm talking about
I know the candy, right?
I'm looking at understanding. I'm looking at understanding the mathematics of the day. I'm looking at the 5% nation.
So the 5% nation, can I segue? Because it was a thing about whether they're gonna get back in control of
the golden era of information.
Yes, sir. So tell us about both while you're doing it.
Well, if you're a hip hop head such as myself and you existed with the real boom bap, you understand that hip hop.
Oh, you got on me when I said boom bap.
There was we argued about who created it, what was boom bap versus what was. No, you didn't. I said no. You said somebody who wasn't boom bap, and I had to tell you, no, this is what the boom bap was.
Blastmaster.
Well, yeah. Now we can agree on that, but that ain't what you said. He said like MC Shy D or somebody that night.
Check the tape. All the shows are archived. I can listen.
No, I'm saying, but there was a golden era in which Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, PE, Poor Righteous Teachers, X-Clan.
PYT.
Yeah, poor Righteous Teachers, which in itself is righteous. You gotta understand that there's righteous indignation. There is a language that's built for us, and there's an understanding that's built for us.
It has vibration and energy.
And it doesn't teach pacifism, and it doesn't teach cowardice or
homosexuality.
Or it's knowledge of self. Right. So when you talk about Clarence 13X, who's a descendant of Elijah Muhammad, just as Malcolm was, and people don't know about it, and it's primarily an East Coast thing, but the science and the mathematics of the day makes sense when we talk about truth and justice, and we talk about building, and we talk about understanding, and there's you got to go and look up the 5%ers mathematical science. You get the science of the day, and it's number based, right? So it's each number stands for something. So you can get. If you get on the 23rd,
numerology,
knowledge and wisdom, born to understanding, and it's something to guide your day by, right? And knowledge of self is so important because
it's a language.
It involves self-love as well. Yeah. So I'm not converting, but I observe that version of spirituality.
You're not converting.
Not converted
to
a 5%
from
Christianity.
So you're still a Christian.
I'm in my origin. I was baptized.
That was good. I like that. That was good.
I was baptized at a young age.
Yes, sir.
My father was a Baptist.
But as an adult,
I'm still under that because I haven't found anything that will make me switch that commitment.
Makes sense, bro.
Because I know my grandmama was for real, and I know I had several aunties who were for real, and I've seen my family get together and do that old Christian prayer, and it worked. Mm-hmm. It worked for me because I had plenty of family members who stayed in prayer. And when I look at the situations I've been in, like he's supposed to have been dead or in jail right there. And there's many others who've done this. And I got past them. It ain't because I'm that smart. Because I ain't outsmarted life. Life is undefeated. Right?
It'll kick your ass.
And it has. But for some reason, there's always been a space or a spot for me. And I know it has something to do with the attention to detail when we talk about there's a higher power. See, it ain't about who you bow down to. It's about if you bow down to something. You can say his name is James. I wouldn't give a shit. As long as you was true to James, I'm cool with you. I say Jesus, you say James. We shake up and go home, and you go your way, and I go by. So that's where I'm at.
You should think about it, brother.
Give me the question again. Because that was a hell of a long answer.
Yeah, it was. It was long. It was long.
Well,
shout out to the 5%, man. The guys in the earth, God bodies. Yes.
He was talking about. I asked him, was he a Christian? And he said he's going to be a Christian because he hasn't found anything else.
Oh, I'm no longer a Christian.
Why?
because I've learned some things and been through some things in life that made me feel like that wasn't where it's at for me.
Okay.
But haven't you been in a situation where you've seen the power of something that is coming out of people's mouth when they say Jesus or whatever, and they've seen it work or perform miracles? And
well, I believe that's like a,
come on,
you're talking to yourself. It's part of
hello.
It's like a power of thought.
Yes.
And the 5% says you are God. The black man's God.
So
That's what the 5%
we
says.
We all have the same energy, the same creative energy, which
black
we all have
God.
the same power to do.
So at the risk of oversimplifying it myself, the difference is we used to pray to an invisible man, an invisible God in the sky.
That our oppressors taught us about.
When the fact of the matter is, if don't pray outward, you pray inward.
You're talking to yourself.
And your higher
so that
self.
Means what?
So that means your higher. That means there's a you, right? You know what I'm saying? That exists.
That you're telling the work
when this flesh is dead.
You're praying, but you talking to yourself. What does that make you?
God.
Outlaw Radio.
You see what I'm saying? So it's real. It's real. Now here's the thing: your concept of God, like this almighty being,
omnipotent.
Right. Listen, I think that's incorrect. You know what I mean? God is everything.
You can't put a face on it.
Not only a face, but we don't try to give God a face. We try to give God an emotion. We'll say God is a jealous God. God, that's the most ridiculous.
I think
we'll say God gets angry. That's absolutely.
I see Ramo.
Ridiculous. What's up,
Ram, chime in on his Muslim, on his understanding, knowledge.
Real talk. Correct me if I'm wrong.
We say God is this, God is that, because I believe we've put an image to God.
We made him into a person.
Exactly, and that's why I say I don't think you could put a face on it. I mean, when you get to a certain point, man, like you understand. First of all, you understand that. Just like the word Jay, the term God has only been around for so long.
But here's the thing.
It was a point in time when it wasn't even nothing that could correlate to that
So
word.
if you believe in the Bible and you read what's in the Bible, not only are you going to see the term God, but you're going to see more than that. You're going to see the term gods, plural.
Yeah.
Well, in order to believe in the Bible, that means you would have to believe English was the definitive language, because you can only read it in English
now.
Because what's lost is it in Spanish now? What if the Bible's in? You ever seen a Spanish Bible?
No. Well, yeah.
How would you be able to interpret if it's?
This is what I would think. I don't know who would be the correct one, but I would think the first Bible, like I say, it was written by Egyptians in Africa. So
the first Bible
was written by Hebrews.
No, the first Bible, like he said, was on the walls, right?
Yeah, so it would have to been written in the Meduna Turk.
So when people come and tell me about the Bible has prophecies and so on and so forth, and it's divine, there's divine things in the Bible because they ripped it off from something that was divine. You're absolutely right. It's miracles, right? But here's the thing: there was nobody named Paul,
right?
Nobody named John,
right?
You see what I'm saying? You all.
What about Leviticus?
You always wondering about that.
Maybe Leviticus. No, Leviticus. I think that's more
Leviticus.
I think Leviticus is Greek.
I would get a dog and name him Leviticus. Because I just like saying Leviticus.
You don't grow up and bite you.
I'm going to shoot Leviticus with a Leglocomist.
Nigga named me Leviticus. I'm going to bite his ass.
Listen, sometime it'll backfire. The boy named Sue will whoop your ass.
We didn't mean to make you uncomfortable while we did mean to make you uncomfortable.
Before I take it away, I add something too.
Yeah, I want you to challenge yourself. And if you can't think outside the box, then you should not be listening to us, which is Outlaw Radio, another Thursday night edition.
Hello.
We get it in. We'll be back
Saturday night. We start feeling comfortable. We forget what time it is.
Yeah, we'll be back Saturday night, man. And there's still more current events to talk about.
Yeah,
but I think the most important conversations are the ones that you need to have for yourself.
We didn't talk about Jay-Z.
Nah, we don't have to.
And Colin Kaepernick is supposed to. We didn't.
The tryout. How the fuck you been to a Super Bowl and you got a tryout? We'll talk about that Saturday night.
There's a few things we didn't get to.
The Packers just played, and they had got that dude from the grocery store. See, I don't even know his name.
Right, well, we don't, but he damn near beat us.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
If you think you own the team.
I try not to get too distracted by the distraction. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Black people you gotta be ready to get uncomfortable. Stop being safe. Stop being scared. Fear is the enemy of achievement, and you better understand that. When you freeze up, then you lose it. You got to be able to stare it down and say, if this is it, this is it. Let's get it over with. You know, I'd rather die a quick death than a slow death. And I don't want to say that because I don't want to walk out and get hit by a car.
Prophesying all kind of shit for yourself. Stop that.
Well, I'm just saying, if you entertaining death, stop saying I want it to be prolonged.
I'm immortal.
Stop living on your knees. Okay?
When I die, I'm going to just start.
Humans die.
Hey.
Flesh. I don't die.
I'll be back. Right? So, Saturday night.
I am my spirit. I don't die.
Shout out to my brothers. They both got their own social media networks. Brother, you got to talk to you. No, you.
Oh, me. Listen, talk to teach, listen and learn, man. This is something where you're not scared to be called a conspiracy theorist. Because the fact of the matter is, white people conspire. And that's been proven.
Go on.
So, man, listen, this is where you can say something. Listen, put like this. If you ever heard of Art Bell, check out Talk to Teach, Listen to Learn.
Okay.
Hey, now.
What you got with the Nature's in the Turtle?
All right, got this Nature's in the Turtle demonstration going on here. Nature's in the Turtle Herbs and Supplements. You catch that on Facebook as Nature's in the Turtle Herbs and Supplements. I also got Healthy Self, Heal Thyself group. Facebook group. You decide you want to transition over to vegan. This is the group for you. You got health issues that you may want to deal with or start working on. This is the group for you. So check it out. If you forget those, my name is Kamar Carter. I'm on Facebook. That's Kamar Carter. You can reach me that way too, y'all. Oh yeah, and the phone number 414-949-2122.
Hit me up with any kind of suggestions or feedback that you have about the show. We welcome constructive criticism. We want to shout out 3041 North. I want to wish Mr. Terry a very happy birthday. He had an extravagant event. And it looked like it was, good times was had. 414-810-3131. Get with Mr. Terry, Next Level Vegan.
5-star.
Shout out to Rain Truth, man. Shout out to Brother Dante Chestnut, DMG.
Man,
KT killing them. Even Sound Silhouette. We're going to talk about
Sound
the delay.
Silhouette, Brother Tough, man.
Yeah.
Blessings.
Me and Rain got that Midwest Vegan Fest coming up in April, too.
That's what's up. And shout out to Milwaukee Community Kickball League and Rouse Riley.
Next
Brother
Level
Raymond Doza.
I heard you was in training, man, for the kickball.
You heard a goddamn lie.
Sherman Phoenix.
Shout out to Raymond Doza and 414 Life and Jaquette Forte, who will be back on the show. Shout out to Gigolo Jackson. Shout out to OJ, who was on the show just last week. Great show.
Listen,
views is up on it.
I want to say, like, the Democratic thing is coming here, right? I just want y'all to know that a lot of this is going to be coming through the People's Network. It's going to be coming through Outlaw Radio. We're going to talk to some of y'all.
We're going to talk that talk.
And listen, if we don't talk, listen, I seen your face. If we don't talk to you,
I got beef.
If we don't talk to you, we're going to talk about
the show last night. I got beef right now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So come on, we're going to have some.
I'm riding on politics.
Listen, let's do that, man.
Yeah.
So because here's the thing.
This is as a rider.
Come on, man. Come on and tell us about
why
we should vote for you. Because we got some gatekeepers that's in place right now.
Convince us
you're not going to do the same.
I don't vote. But if you can earn my vote, we got something. And that's the reason why I don't vote.
Let's talk
because these politicians don't earn my vote. And I think us as a community, we need to get into that. You got to earn our vote. It ain't just about telling us what you're going to do, but earn.
But I'm going to tell you what pisses me off. Even when we start talking that, we get to earning the vote and we start thinking about voting, and they start passing laws that make it difficult for us to vote. It start making it difficult for our elderly to vote. It start making it difficult for our absentee ballots to get it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's with the games, with the games. That's the hole in the bucket, y'all. We need to fix that.
Yeah, man. Saturday night, Outlaw Radio, What Revolution. Make sure you tune in. It's all about the passing of information. It ain't about our opinions solely. If you ever got something to say, you can
come with it. We want to hear from you.
We want to hear it from you.
We do.
Support the show, man. Hit like, hit follow, hit share. We do great numbers with the archive shows and the YouTube thing. We getting subscribers. Let's keep building on this thing, man.
If you're on Facebook, if you just even want to check out a different camera angle, go check it out on YouTube.
We simulcast. We do this thing. Do that. So make sure y'all tune in Saturday night, man. Teamwork makes the dream work. Shout out to all black businesses. As usual,
shout out.
If you sitting around wasting time, criticism of the black community is greater than your contribution,
then
You are most definitely a coon. I'll see you Saturday night.
Peace.
Shout out to
Wakanda
Willie D.
forever.
Shout out to Willie D for that. I don't know. He be like,
no, give him credit, Willie. You know what I'm saying?
Willie know he said.
But he ain't even trying to be Willie D right now. You know what I'm saying?
He got on Congressman D.
Yeah, right.
No, Willie, face going harder.
No, I'm respecting them brothers, man. Reinventing themselves and going on to make a difference, bro. I love that.